Good morning, everyone. I'm Visad Patel. I'm the founder of a company called Ushva. So first of all, I'd like to thank Sign and DSC Center for inviting us to have an interaction with us rather. So I wouldn't say we are giving a 15-minute speech. We are looking for an interaction wherein we would like to spread the entrepreneurship community across India. Okay, so let me start with what is entrepreneurship. So I was talking about entrepreneurship, a lot of theoretical definitions around out there on the internet, on books. But then I think it's more of an experience, and every individual has a different definition for the entrepreneurship. For me, it's more about desire to work on something which has limitless possibilities. I think that drives me towards my entrepreneurship. I want to work on something wherein the achievements can be unlimited. The change that I can make can be unlimited. I don't want to be bound that, okay, I can create X amount of money or I can create only Y amount of impact on the global scenario. No, I want something which can be limitless. And that's the definition for me for entrepreneurship. Now, the most important thing in entrepreneurship is failure. Unless and until you don't fail, you don't learn. And for me, this company of mine, this is my 6th attempt on entrepreneurship. My first one starting at the age of 18 while I was still in the first year of my college. Of course, I was very lame then. I didn't know what business means, but then, okay, just wanted to do something on my own. Started with a couple of friends, again, bunch of kids, but then, yeah, we were looking for entrepreneurship at that point of time. Then, of course, we realized that, okay, it's not a game that, it's not a childish game that can be played very easily. You need to know certain stuff. And I think we were in the best possible ecosystem and, of course, best possible support out here to understand at its actuality that what entrepreneurship is and what are the things that need to be implemented, the processes. So I think I took next 2 years to be part of various activities on the institute level, got engaged in a lot of entrepreneurship courses. And I think in the 3rd year, again, I thought I should give a try again. So that is when again brought in a bunch of other colleagues of mine, started working on an idea, failed. Maybe the most important thing that we started with is forming a team. A lot of people jump in that, hey, let's do it together. But then I think on the 7th day or maybe on the end of first month, we'll see people falling apart. So I think that's the first failure that we see, that we aren't even able to set up a team. And that's the most basic thing, right? So that is when we start realizing that, hey, failure is there on the every step of our entrepreneurship journey. But then I think that's what makes us better, day by day and month by month, year by year. I think I also have a couple of friends here with whom I have tried my entrepreneurship journey a couple of times. Kamal, who's going to again give you a 15-minute introduction on what he has been through. Yes, we tried, we failed, but then we are here today. And I think perseverance and patience is what matters. So this is my company, Ushva. We are working on the energy and IoT field. And our dream is very simple. We want to make renewable energy more accessible, more affordable, and of course, more interesting. And the reason why I'm saying more interesting is, I'm sure all of us go through our electricity bills every month or maybe once in 2 months. And for most of us, that's the only time when we look at our energy consumptions. The reason is we don't care how we consume energy or what happens to energy. It's there in our lives. And then I think globally we are talking about green energy or energy conservation. So on one side, that is energy or electricity for which we don't care. And then on the other side, we are talking about optimization or conservation. I think doesn't go hand in hand, right? So the idea is we want to work on a technology which not only, of course, brings in green energy in everybody's day-to-day life, but then it has to change the perception of energy in everybody's life. So as of now, it's a very passive thing in your life. My technology is going to make that a very, very active component in your life. And I cannot force that on you. I had to make you go through a process wherein you desire to make it an active component of your life. So that is where we designed a product. We call it Beacon. It's an next generation interactive solar inverter. Of course, it's much more than a solar inverter. It's a single box which not only takes care of your energy generation, but it also takes care of your energy consumption and transmission altogether, single device. So you talk about solar inverters, you talk about home automation, industrial automation, you talk about smart metering, you talk about power stabilization, you talk about EV charging station. I'll give you everything in a single box. No need to buy multiple hardwares, and that too at a price of a regular solar inverter. Okay, so of course, while in the journey, we've seen a lot of people, I think most of them who didn't believe or who still don't believe in what we're trying to do. But then, hey, here we are, and here's my team. We have been working on this idea since last 4 years. And I think from day one, we have been pretty sure that what we are doing is going to create a huge impact. And time to time, we have an approach wherein we reach out to all the global companies, all the global startup ecosystems to keep a check that we are still unique and are we still ahead of time. And in fact, lately we have been receiving a lot of international recognition on our work. So to name a few, we are amongst the top 10 hardware innovations globally. And we were invited to Hong Kong. We are amongst the top 9 power and energy ecosystems across Asia Pacific. Me and my co-founder, both of us are amongst the top 33 under 33 International Clean Energy Challenge. So I think we're getting a fair bit of recognition. And meanwhile, of course, apart from my journey, there was a lot of support required, a lot of teaching required, wherein organizations like Sign and this IITB Center for Entrepreneurship came in. A lot of people might look at it as just random courses, but then I think those are much more than just random courses. I think the theoretical knowledge at times looks useless in the first go, but then I think that's the most basic thing that has to be implemented on your business. So guys, I hope you take back a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience stories out of this 5-day seminar that you have gone through, and would be more than happy to help you along by sharing our experiences, our mistakes, our failures most importantly, and spread the ecosystem across India and possibly globally. Thank you. Okay, so talking about my product. So as I said, it's an solar inverter plus a lot many other things. So it's a single device which consists of a smart solar inverter. It has an inbuilt energy management system, inbuilt IoT infrastructure. It also has an EV charging station. And in layman terms, to understand how it is better compared to others, we're looking at 25% extra monetary savings compared to any other solar inverter technology globally. And we're looking at 70% reduction in the operational maintenance cost and time. So, and of course, we're looking at a very optimized price point and a lot of data analytics. At global point, we're looking at filing 11 patents in the first go. And of course, we put in 4 years of hard work to get the product at its current stage of operationality. So far, we were bootstrapping, of course, our own money, friends, IIT Bombay alumni. We invested $200,000. So far, that's around 1.2 crores. And we're currently in the process of raising $1 million for getting on to the next step of starting the delivery of the product. So we reached out to more than 700 plus B2B customers across India and across different other countries. And conservatively, we're looking at selling across 62,000 products in the next 24 months. So we're looking at a revenue worth of $30 million in the next 24 months. As I said, we were amongst the top 10 hardware innovations. So we were invited to Hong Kong 2 months back, and we got a chance to exhibit our product out there. A lot of people say, and I know it's a common notion probably for all my generations above me, for my father, that hey, German technology is great. You know, these guys make the best technology out there. But then I think I'm very happy to say that Germans are buying my technology this day. Thank you.
So good morning everyone. I'm a final year student at IIT Bombay and I'm doing BTech in Metallurgy and Material Science, and I've completed my minor in Entrepreneurship last semester in Desai City Center for Entrepreneurship. So my objective with this talk is to share my journey as a student entrepreneur and how entrepreneurship ecosystem at IIT Bombay helped me. So I started my journey by taking the courses at the center in my second year. And the initial courses were focused on, getting out of the building, speaking with real customers, getting in validation for your ideas, and then turning it into a business. Then we also learned about frameworks like business model canvas, and also learned about mistakes that other entrepreneurs made, and also like what were the qualities of successful entrepreneurs. During the proof of concept courses, we learned techniques about how do you make a MVP and then convert it into a final product. And the cherry on top for all the courses that we attended was at the end, like few lectures were always taken by few guest speakers. So these speakers were venture capitalists or successful entrepreneurs or industry leaders, and they always used to share their unique experiences and perspective, which was very, very helpful on our journey. So at the end of second year, I started my company Ogle AI. So I saw this huge opportunity that AI automation can create on the world globally. Right now we are focused more towards the computer vision based problem statements and how we can use it to create automated solutions. So I'll start with our first product. So we went out here at IIT Bombay main gate, and we saw there that the security guards are manually noting down the license plate numbers. So which is a very tedious and a repetitive task. So sometimes they get bored, they don't write it, or they might write it wrong. So that would result into a security breach. But we noticed that there was a camera there, and we thought that why can't we use an automatic number plate recognition system? But so we came back, we tried out all the possible algorithms which are available in the market, and what we discovered was that the accuracies of these algorithms was pretty bad. The reason for this was many in Bombay as well as in many parts in India, the license plates of the vehicles are still don't have standardized fonts, due to which the accuracy of these algorithms was pretty low. So we went back to the drawing board, we designed a new algorithm which works on standardized as well as non-standardized license plates, and then we build a product building on top of that, and currently we are testing it here. We have deployed the product at the IIT Bombay main gate, and we are in talks with deployment at properties of multiple builders, top builders in Bombay. Okay, so coming on to the next product. So after our first product, we got a chance to visit Mumbai Traffic Police headquarters, and there we observed that the traffic law violation is done by traffic police officers manually. You have like thousands of cameras deployed across Bombay, and what they do is they manually zoom in through the cameras. They take the screenshot of the law violations. These law violations include like driver without helmet or a vehicle standing on the pedestrian crossing. So basically the process was they take the screenshot, they fill in the e-challan form, and then the e-challan is sent. So what we are doing is, we have developed AI system which automatically takes the input from the cameras, it does the analysis on the images, and it gives the output of the law violation directly. So we have completely automated that step. So we demonstrated that to the Joint Commissioner, and he was happy with that, and he allowed us to integrate it into the real-time traffic monitoring system. So for any machine learning system, data is very important. So you need a large amount of data, and you also need good amount of computing resources. So here we got the data from the traffic police, but we lacked the computational resources. So that is where Desai City Center helped us with. So they funded us with the computational resources that were required for the project. Okay, so I'll speak about another part of the entrepreneurship ecosystem here at IIT Bombay, which is the Entrepreneurship Cell or the E-Cell. So E-Cell conducts multiple events like entrepreneurs get together, competitions, investor pitching sessions, etc. So I got to connect with the fellow entrepreneurs as well as investors during these meetups, and by pitching in these competitions, our pitching skills also improved. Due to which we were able to win startup competitions like Startup Jalsa 2018 as well as ECEL Eureka IIT Bombay Track 2019, and so we also completed MAP program, which is again a startup accelerator. A 2-month crash course which is done by Desai City Center for new startups, and we are also lucky that because of all these all this experience we were also able to raise funds and like build our team, and now we are working on new products. So now we are helping companies automate their quality control process. I'll give one example. So we're working with Hawkins. So Hawkins manufactures cookers. So on this so while manufacturing, they have defects get generated like dents, drawline, etc. on the surface of the cookers. So that quality control process is completely manual. They have like huge quality control teams whose job is just inspecting one surface of the cooker. So again, like we are using our technology to automatically detect those defects, and here now we are creating a consistent quality control process for them, which saves them time as well as cost and increasing their operational efficiency. And yeah, so in conclusion, like I would like to bring a point that fascinates me a lot. So companies like Facebook, Dell, Microsoft were started by Mark Zuckerberg, Michael Dell, Bill Gates while they were still in the college. Google too was started by Larry and Sergey when they were doing their PhD at Stanford. So I too hope that by encouraging more students to take up entrepreneurship, we can create huge value for our country as well as the world. Thank you.
Yeah, good morning everyone. My name is Anurag, and I graduated from IIT Bombay 4 years back. I did my BTech in engineering physics, and so I'll start with my entrepreneurial journey, how I started. So while in the course, while doing my course here, I had a knack to build something, sell something, make money out of it. So I have like dabbled into multiple fields till date. I have coded for blockchains, cryptocurrencies, vehicle tracking systems, and I have even sold a lot of those things, made money out of it. But the most important thing that I was looking for was converting those 1 or 2 odd sales where you make decent money into a sustainable pipeline of revenues. So I slowly dabbling into multiple things, building things, selling things. I realized that I have a great interest in medical and healthcare. I started approaching people who work in medical and healthcare to give me a chance to learn so to learn something from that field and find out something which can be deployed in field. So the bioscience department here does not have an undergraduate program, but I was fortunate enough to find Professor Srivastava, under whom I joined in as an intern in my second year, then started working on a couple of ideas or projects that were going on there. Going a little bit forward, while I was completing my third year, I set up my first venture. So informally, we had started selling. We built a pregnancy care platform where we identify high-risk pregnancies from data generated by conventional devices, flag them in advance, and alert the doctor and the next to kin. So in 2014, we formally registered it and started selling under the company name CareNX Innovation. The product name was Is Care Mother. It is currently being sold throughout India and in bits and bytes outside India as well. We right now have 50,000 plus mothers whose data has been captured by the system, has been evaluated, and it is ongoing right now. So we evaluate the mothers from the first month, from the month when they conceive till the labor. So starting that, at the same time I had joined courses from Desai Sethi Center for Entrepreneurship. In fact, I have been in touch with Professor Atre from the time I was in the idea stage till the time of making it into a formal venture. So after 3 years, when the company was generating certain revenues and had sales and all, I had a knack for building something in hardware, something which you can touch and feel. So that's when I started my second venture into medical devices itself. So first venture was into software, then I went into medical devices and hardware. So right now I run a company called Dynasense Technologies based in Mumbai. We develop diagnostic devices, point of care diagnostic devices and intraoperative surgical tools. So I'll come to what we build at a later on stage. I'll tell you what my experiences have been from my journey. So one of the most important thing is like taking that idea from the software or from the design stage and converting it into a business, setting up like getting to know all the dynamics of it, how the cost will work, who will do what, where will you get the team from, where will you get the vendors from, where will you get the vendors to generate your manufacture your small prototypes and all. So the center's learning of doing things practically and getting out of the hostel or college zone or the research zone and going out, meeting people, setting up vendor networks and all was a great learning that we had got, setting up small pilots and all, productions and all, testing it out with the hospitals, clinical trials and all. Another great learning was team building. So it is very difficult to build a team. Finding people is the most challenging task that we found, that people who are enthusiastic enough to sustain that. Patience is a very important key in entrepreneurship. Then managing the resources. So again, from the research point, it is very easy to design and develop products in the office. Just like pick up the software, do the calculations and all, design the mechanical part, design the electronics part. But getting them out of the software, there is when you realize how you standardize your designs, how you communicate with the vendors, how you set up small lots, communicating with multiple vendors, assembling them, designing for manufacturing and all, designing in a way that it's not just, you don't have to start from scratch when you take it in the product stage and all. So those were some of the learnings that we had, and every day there is a new learning that we get to know. So the first venture I had set up is in the revenue generating stage. It has been funded, but setting up the second venture, your learnings never end. You still have a lot of things that you learn. Patience is an important key, networking, meeting people, collaborating is a very important key. We don't have the chemical or wet lab chemistry and test facilities in-house, but we have been fortunate enough to be in a network of people who help us out with resources or pointers in the direction or give guidance where to seek resources and all. So collaboration, networking is a very important thing. So the products that we develop right now what we develop are helping surgeons before they take decisions in orthopedic surgery. So before cutting a bone at a certain angle or at a certain width, they help them predict the outcome. What will it end up in the format of correction and all, or what will it end up if they go forward and cut the bone at that particular point at that particular angle. So it predicts what will happen if they go forward. They can make corrections and then they can see what is the result without even taking a step. Yeah, so that is something I've been doing right now in my learning.
Yeah, good morning everyone. My name is Kamal Kumar. I graduated 3 years back. I have done my bachelor's in electrical engineering, master's in communication and signal processing. I started my first venture in 2011. It was taking workshops across India for robotics, electronics, hacking, advanced ethical hacking, web development and all. Doing that, we generated decent amount of cash in first year. When we, like in 2011, one thing while taking those courses was clear, like we were fooling the kids in other colleges. Like instead of paying us that money, they could have just purchased a dongle. In 2011, like dongle was famous for accessing internet. And then like I outsourced everything that you can all learn those things directly. So we stopped that company, but the revenue generated from that firm helped us start a new venture, which was Deal With Us. It was a cashback website. When I say deal cashback website, that first time in India that cashback terminology was again started by us. Paytm came later and started using that word cashback. When we in deal with us, it was sort of we aggregated more than 500 e-commerce sites, all like Amazon, Flipkart, whatever you do on digital space, like booking your mobile movie ticket to booking your flight ticket. So we collated everything on a single portal. Now customers were coming on our portal, then we were redirecting them to Amazon or Flipkart. They were getting an additional cashback. So that motivation of additional cashback, and then that cashback can be utilized to give charity, or they can get that amount in their bank accounts. That's how we created a model, and we started doing customer profiling. So the data which Facebook AdWords didn't have or Google AdWords didn't have, we were having that entire data through Deal With Us. And our marketing ecosystem was pretty good. So that product is still active. So Deal With Us is still running, and we are generating revenues of more than $1 million now a year. But 3 years back, I was I started taking courses of entrepreneurship through our center, the IITB center, which helped me a lot. Like previous stint of my entrepreneurship were totally random. As a college student, we were doing random things, wanted to generate just monetary aspects were the key focus area, or my negative point was I wanted to become famous. Like that was my wrong mode of doing entrepreneurship. When I went through these courses, as he told you about the BMC, Business Model Canvas, all structured way of doing things, meeting entrepreneurs who have created successful ventures, meeting professors who are doing multiple things, like not only teaching, their research work, the kind of companies they are involved in, how that entire ecosystem works. So got to learn all those things through taking these courses, going logically how things should happen. So came across the major problem statements across Indian ecosystem. We talk about food is one of the problem statement. We talk about healthcare is another problem statement. The third problem statement which is famous in Indian ecosystem is logistics and supply chain. India's GDP's 14% amount goes in logistics and supply chain. Across the globe, in developed countries, the amount is around 6 to 8%, and the global average is around 10%. So there is high inefficiency. In terms of global ranking, we are ranked at 44 number in terms of logistics and supply chain index. Though we are in terms of GDP, we are 5th largest, still we are lagging behind in terms of logistics and supply chain. The biggest problem statement in that is again infrastructure, which we can't solve as bunch of few people who are trying to do new things. So we started exploring this industry, which are the key big holes. You people might have heard about Rivigo, Blackbuck, Less Transport, Truckola. These are transport aggregators. They have solved one problem, they have created a platform where they have aggregated all the unorganized sectors, vendors or transporters to say. But when we went in depth to understand the entire ecosystem, from your raw material stage to your manufacturing plant, to a warehouse, to a distributor, to again your retailer, then finally customer. The common thing which was at every place, you want to keep your raw material in some space. You want to keep again, when you manufacture, you need to stock up your inventory. Then warehouse is needed. At a distribution center, again, you require a warehouse. The size is varying, but the common piece was warehouse. So we took that first module, we created the first module as warehouse. We decided, we then again did a lot of research, identified 200 plus parameters to judge a warehouse, to give it a rating, how to visualize that. Today, this decision is taken by people who are at a level of CFO or supply chain head or who have done PhDs in supply chain. They come up with the answers. In India, the word warehouse was not evident. In last 5-6 years, after e-commerce happened properly, earlier people used to call as Godam. Everyone know Godam, no? So that Godam to a scientific entity like warehouse or a fulfillment center or a distribution center, which are the modern terms coined in the Indian ecosystem. So again, the first problem statement to aggregate this data, and this data is again one owner of a warehouse has a worth of above 100 CR that then only has invested to create some facility. Now, just imagine a tech person wearing a round neck t-shirt goes and sits in front of a warehouse owners or builders just to ask them that give us your data. The first thing which he asked is, are you literally the owner of this company or not? And this happened multiple times, like while pitching, how to improve, how to create a data with which we can speak. Everyone doesn't know about IIT, so we have to face that another challenge in the ecosystem. So we then identify those parameters in a logical way, created a moat around it, how to collect that data in proper way. Then comes another part, like our first customer was Britannia. Luckily, they gave us all their 34 warehouses across India so that we can help them source ideal warehouses with right benchmarking and all. This helped us that now the second problem was who would manage those inventory. Then comes the 3PL word. Everyone knows about DHL, Kuehne+Nagel or DTDC. These are the ones who act as a mind to design supply chain. They handle, like they outsource everything and they run those operations. After DHL, again, this was another black hole. In India, generally companies outsource their 3PL very less, like that number organized 3PLs is less than 10%. In developed countries, it is above 70 to 80%. So that was another problem statement which we were trying to solve. Again, we parameterized everything. We have now 150 plus 3PL companies who are working with us, creating a standard model like OYO for all the local 3PL companies also. Then comes allied services. When you want to set up, you move into new house, you want furnishing in the house. Similarly, when companies run their warehouse, there is an ecosystem of all allied services which need to be there in place. So we created again parameters, onboarded that data. Then comes optimization, and the final part was transportation. Now these 5 things and my journey being an electrical engineer from IIT Bombay, done with teaching part, done with e-commerce sort of how Indian ecosystem or e-commerce have evolved through a cashback site, integrating that entire data with logical thinking. What center has helped us getting a proper networking part. Like one of the professor who used to take lectures in IIT Bombay for the center was Professor Devdeep Purkayast. When I asked him, like, I'm starting a new venture in logistics and supply chain, I was not aware that he was VP Supply Chain DHL South Asia 2007. So when I discuss these things, so discussion, networking, you need to have proper connects and a proper journey to make things work. So entire knowledge. Now imagine a circuit board. Now I'm coming to electrical part. Just imagine a circuit board. You have resistor, capacitor, ICs. Every circuit have a different purpose. One circuit is in this projector, your laptops. So different circuits have a different purpose. Now we know there are values for resistor, values for capacitor. Every IC have a different purpose. Similarly, we created an ecosystem of warehouse, 3PL, allied services. We have parameters for them. The 3PL is acting as an IC, mind part. The wiring part is the transportation part. So we created a common tech product on which now today I talk about Pepsi, Coca-Cola, Reliance, Adani, HUL, Harley Davidson, everything, your cement, your Kurkure and the fake version of Kurkure. Those companies require this entire value chain now from SME to Coca-Cola. I was thinking like my product would help SMEs, but when I went to market, talked with multiple companies, my first customer was Britannia. Now my top 20 customers are, like out of those 20, 15 are top 500 MNCs across the globe. So the problem statement which was started for SMEs is now the main problem statement of big MNCs also. The value creation part was more. The entire things which I focused, my main key points in all these ventures was I was generating revenue from day one. In my first venture also, in my second venture also, in my third venture also. So when you hear about raising capital, the mindset for raising capital should be right. Like why that capital is needed. You might hear in industry that people have raised 20 million, 50 million, 100 million, but the exact dynamics are totally different. When we raise capital, we lose our company, sort of part of it. there are like, I'm again confused. The time is limited, so shall I? Okay, so the major problem starts after raising the funds. That's the another part, which was the next step, like the journey which we are going right now. The next step is what happens after you raise capital, and which things you need to keep in mind.